Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Doing wonderful.
We're continuing decisions. Has anybody made definite decisions and maybe you're stuck? How about a definite decision and you also know that you're stuck? What does stuck mean?
Reliving the past.
What does it look like?
The same of what we had from days past.
It's really not changing, right?
Yeah, there's no change.
You're reliving same situations. Nothing's really adjusted. Things more or less staying the same. What would that appear in your life? What does that look like? Can you give me some illustrations?
It's well, you wake up, look in the mirror, and it's repetitive. It's the same thing, same cycle, same cycle.
How does it feel?
Normal. It feels, well, some days are good and some days are like, oh.
It's going to be filled with a day of not really being happy and feeling like you're not fulfilled. You know, there's a incomplacency feeling within yourself to think you dread getting up, you dread going to work, you dread facing the day because it's not in a creative state. You're just repeating the cycle over and over. And really, life is dictating what you're doing instead of you're dictating what you're doing. So it's going to come from an unhappiness and pretty much doing what everybody else is doing. And some people are okay with that. And some people will complain. And that in itself is pretty much spirit guide them, letting them know that they're not going in the right direction, but yet they stay stuck though. And a lot of it just goes back to the awareness, not even knowing or seeing it from the abundance or the capability of being able to just create for yourself the life that you want. Some people cannot see past or outside that programming.
I think that being stuck and not aware is a feeling of sadness and depression and not knowing why you have those feelings. But once you make a decision and you're stuck, it's frustrating and disappointing. And it can be very challenging because you know better.
Good. Why is it important to understand both?
So you can be aware to make a shift in decisions and change your life.
Good. Anyone else? Why is it important to know both?
I'm that's a really good question. I think the knowledge and the understanding is an awakening, and having lived in the ignorance or being unaware of what's happening was far more depressing and just felt like it was never going to be better. And now that there's an awareness and a knowledge and a better understanding, there's control of, there's an ability to control your thoughts. And knowing that is, I don't like to use the word hope, but it's powerful.
Promising?
And there's, yeah,
Let's try the word promising. It's promising.
it's promising.
How does that feel?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Like there's so much there. There's so much there.
Where should we look towards?
Within.
That means the work is, there's a work that's, I don't know if you ever heard, sometimes I say the divine work. Anybody ever heard that? The divine work? What would the divine work be?
The
Would
work
the-
on your spirit.
Good. How about work with spirit?
Like a team.
Yeah. How about working with spirit? How does that feel when you say it?
Almost otherworldly. Like
Yeah,
you're
can you-
not even,
Can you
you're
say it
not
again?
even in this otherworldly.
No.
Like
Working
you're,
one with spirit. How does that feel when
but
you
it
say
feels,
it?
to me, it feels like there's just, when working with spirit means that I'm not even working on this plane. Like it's not, it's outside of what's going on in the 3D world. So it feels elevated and impact and just very powerful.
Good. Does it feel right? Did anybody get any chills? I want you to say that and say that inside of your own mind. If you want to say it out loud, say it out loud. Working one with spirit. How does it feel when you say that?
Feels electrical.
Yeah.
Like
Did you feel?
intuition, you're going in the right decisions. It doesn't feel scary as much. It feels right.
The true power is within, and when you hear the truth will set you free. And if you keep repeating it over and over and over again, you're going to start to feel different. You'll also begin to feel at one with it, but also less of the other. Like you're no longer subject to circumstances anymore. Do y'all feel a separation between mind and matter? Almost you're above matter? He who works with the higher states of consciousness controls the lower states. And he who works with the lower states of consciousness is subject to the circumstances. Remember that the higher vibration vibrates so fast you can't see it? What did Einstein say? He said that the field controls the particle. He didn't say the particle controls the field. So what we have to learn is to be more of the field. He said creation was made in the field. Then we see it resting as a particle. Creation is made in the field. That's why we don't see what's happening. A lot of times when we're looking at reality, we don't know what's going on, but what we see has already come into form. And if everything is created twice, first in the imagination, then in form, when we're looking at reality, we're looking at the effect. This is why understanding the subconscious is so important, because the subconscious is in the unseen world. And whenever you're not consciously aware of what you're thinking about, that's what's becoming. But it's a refreshing antidote whenever you understand that I am one with spirit. It's a refreshing antidote. The divine work is from within, but you seek without. Would you not say that let's look at humanity as a whole. Do you not see everybody around the world doing work? When I say work, they're working with their hands, they're working with their imagination, they're always working with a thought. Is this true or untrue? They're always working with an idea. I want you guys to go into this to the memory of your mind and go into right now and go into the future, and you're gonna and just as if you were energy floating through the earth, around the earth right now. I want your mind to go through New York and see all the people walking in the streets. Just as if you were a mist, you and everybody just moving. And we're sitting in the street of New York and we see the sun come up and we're watching people move, going to work, talking, laughing, looking at a little child with a pink overcoat, with the mother walking through the street. We're observing, sun's moving, time is calculating, time is running. And you're looking at people move, talking, move, going to work, go to job, go to school, get out of school, get out of work, pick up the kids. They're going to dinner. You're watching, you're viewing as an observer, just watching man move, doing work, working out ideas, the working of ideas through bodies. Seeing the sun go down, they're going to bed, talking with each other, communicating with each other. They go to bed, they go through their sleep, and then they wake up. And then we go back to the city street and watch them do the work again. We're looking at consciousness and the working out of ideas. We're looking at demonstrations of consciousness throughout space, time, form. But what we're looking at is demonstrations of the unseen. What are they thinking about? Were they thinking? Were they not thinking? Were they working out a vision? Or were they just demonstrating the ideas from the past? And if we were to sit in the same city block, we would see the same people get up at the same time, make the same moves, do the same things without even thinking about it. Maybe if we stayed there for the whole week, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, observing the same city block, same city people moving, they would more or less meet, convene, go to the same restaurants, go to the same places, meet with the same people, and do it over again for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month. And if we stayed there for a year, we may see this coincide over and over and over again. Maybe we stayed there for 10, 20, 30 years observing, fast forwarding through time. Fast forward through that time. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You see a divine work. Consciousness. Unconsciousness. What am I getting at? Are we alive? Are we awake? Time measuring what? When you don't have a vision, time is measuring you. It already has your rhythm. It already has your rhyme. And always subject to time. When you have a vision, you accelerate. A vision begins to control the variables of time and change the interlocking of the mechanism to bring forth a new rhythm, and a new rhyme, and a new time. Because vision works in the field faster than the speed of light. It bends time. If you were to go to an individual and you looked and we were just observing what they did in 10-year span, and there was a vision inside of that individual, and that person all of a sudden made a change in consciousness. And that change in consciousness, he decided, nope, I'm not going to let that vision go. I will move towards that vision. And I'm making a decision that I'm going to work on me. I'm going to make it a decision that I'm going to do the divine work, but the divine work is going to be from within. And I'm going to change everything about me. Because it's me that's demonstrating consciousness. In that moment, he would have had to have gone up, done the divine work as everyone else is doing, except this time, he takes his vision and he brings it down. Therefore, altering space, time, and reality. Therefore, altering what he would do tomorrow. Therefore, altering every step from there forward that he would have naturally have done from the natural mind of man. He's doing the divine work with a new vision. The same divine work that everyone else is doing. But this time, he is bringing down his own vision instead of the memories of the past. He warps the field. He's bending himself. Did he change anyone else? No, he changed him. His vision was ahead of time, in the no time, in the no thing and no space. Therefore, a completely different picture must come into the field. And because the vision is not controlled by time, it rearranges a new order down here in form. And it's almost as a new pattern plan, a new model must unfold. It must. Everyone is doing divine work. They're working out the ideas. Will they become aware that the work was divine? Why do you think that everybody gets a point in time when they're tired of doing what they've been doing? They may have joined it at the beginning, but before long, they're no longer satisfied. Who made them unsatisfied? What do you think that causes every man to get to a point where they're no longer satisfied with the current results?
Your spirit trying to grow.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's knocking on the door, always. Time to get up and grow. Why would something want us to be uncomfortable, dissatisfied? If it was up to the natural part of the man, stay comfortable and not to think and not to get an idea, not to use imagination, not to even have an imagination, what would that person look like?
A robot.
He would act like the animal, just survival. Time to move. Why? Because I got to eat. And all I got to do is go catch my food and I'm done for the day. Can you imagine a man without imagination? Only the primal instinct? We wouldn't have a hue in man. What am I getting at? We're born to create. And we're always doing the divine work. Whether we express it in jobs and business and in handling things, whether we do it in our imagination or creativity, we're always performing. What are we performing? Perform. Ideas. Perhaps you wonder why I'm talking about the work. Let's look at this. People who are working hard to become more prosperous every day, yet many of them are not becoming prosperous at all. Why? Often because they are not thinking about prosperity and success, along with working at it. Were we thinking of prosperity and success while we were doing our work? If we were, you would get other images and other ideas that would flash on the screen of the mind to take you there. What is the mind? Perpetual transmutation of thought energy. If you're just doing work with no definite end, you're not going to get a definite end. If we're just doing work to stay occupied, all we become is occupied. But if we're doing things on purpose, that means there's a definite end. We find fulfillment. Why would you find fulfillment? Because you had advanced decision made that there was a definite end to doing what you were going to be doing. Therefore, you reach satisfaction. Be satisfied. There was an outcome that you were working towards. How many people are doing divine work with no true satisfaction? There was no real definite end. Their attitude is not right. For all the hard work they do that should produce prosperity, they neutralize it by their failure talk, by their association with failure-minded people, and perhaps by the criticism and condemnation of others who are moving up the ladder of success. They have not realized that there must be an inworking of prosperous ideas before there can be an outworking of prosperous results. We're all doing work. We're all working out ideas. Are they two definite ends? Today, you're fixing to get off this call. You're here on the call once because you believe in yourself, and you're looking to draw something out of yourself. And then you're going to go into the mechanism of the day of whatever you've been thinking about that brought this mechanism today from the past. The work that you're doing, was it on purpose? And what was the purpose that led you into the work to begin with? What was the purpose of bringing you into this work to begin with? Does it still have meaning? Did it ever have meaning? Or was it just to get a paycheck and survive? Was there a definite end? Do you have a definite end? And if you look, and if you begin to think, maybe it was just to get by, or just to earn that amount of money, just to survive. That's not a definite end. And there's no definite outcome. And maybe not even one worthwhile. Is it worthy of you? Now that you're becoming more aware of who you are, who I am is. A line of distinction is always there. Am I really doing what I'm doing on purpose? Once a secretary was working vigorously to attain prosperity. He was heavily in debt and had been fired from several jobs and was in dire need of steady employment. She was adequately educated since she held 2 college degrees along with business school training. At first glance, she seemed easy enough to work with. But as others became better acquainted with her, they realized that she secretly held grudges against the whole world, and all her past employers in particular. It became apparent that she consistently sought sympathy for her hopeless financial affairs. When it was suggested that a change of emphasis from failure to prosperous thinking might be the answer, she became furious. She wanted to keep her prejudice, grudges, and failure attitudes, which filled the atmosphere around her with such heavy pessimism that people were repelled by her. With her mind so cluttered with hostility, it is little wonder her work was unsatisfactory, her efficiency at all-time high, and that she disliked her various jobs and employers. Conversely, another working lady seemed to realize that the prosperous, victorious attitude paves the way for satisfying, producing work. To all appearances, this lady had no reason to feel victorious or positive. She was past the half-century mark. Many people in her age group would say that they were getting too old, which alone was reason enough for their lack and unhappiness. Furthermore, again, those are ideas. Furthermore, she was a widow and very much alone in the world, having no children or no close relatives. But she did not use this as an excuse for failure. Instead, she was a very happy and successful person. Even more challenging, her sales products was one of the most of us would not care to attempt selling. She sold cemetery burial lots. Yet she sold them in large numbers and seemed to very happy about her product. She also seemed to convey her enthusiasm to those who purchased them. Though most of us liked to put off thinking of this particular item as long as possible. The result was that she enjoyed most of life's comforts, a lovely, comfortable, spacious home in which she often entertained her host of friends, financial security such as rental properties, stocks, bonds, and other investments, as well as high, steady income from her sales work. She had time for social church, cultural activities, as well as for vacations and travel. To her, work was divine, even though she sold the last product in the world that most of us want to buy. What did she enjoy that gave her enthusiasm? She enjoyed a lovely, comfortable, spacious home on purpose. She enjoyed entertaining people at her home on purpose. She enjoyed financial security such as rental properties on purpose, stocks on purpose, bonds on purpose, investments on purpose, as well as a high, steady income for her sales work on purpose. She enjoyed social church, cultural activities, vacations, and travel on purpose. To her, work was divine. Even though she sold the last product in the world most of us would want to buy. What's the difference between the two women?
Attitude.
And the attitude is a composite of the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions on purpose. If we look at the lady that had the grudge, she secretly held grudges even though she was well educated. She seemed very likable at first, but every time we found her without a job because she was secretly holding on to grudges. Work is divine. This means different things to different people. A prosperous thinker might think of work as divine or sublime, or as creative activity of good in some satisfying form, which is balanced with play, rest, and harmonious surroundings. Gibbon has written that work is love made visible. That is beautiful. I really love that. That work is love made visible. Love made visible. It's somebody that's thinking that the divine work is love made visible. That person has to be doing something on purpose. Would you agree? I really love that.
Yes.
That work is love made visible. It is creative activity of good in some satisfying form, which is balanced with play, rest, and harmonious surroundings. That could be work. Are you doing things on purpose? To a definite end. To satisfy. To satisfy the dissatisfaction in the man because you are you. Are we understanding who we are? We are divine creativity having fun. Einstein said the imagination is what? Creativity having fun. Human. Hu is a higher consciousness of man. Human. We become dissatisfied when we're doing things we don't want to do because we didn't do it on purpose. Because we didn't choose to do the thing on purpose. Perhaps you do not agree that work is divine, sublime, or even a satisfying inner expression of your talents and abilities. The work you are doing at the moment may not seem divine. If not, there is a reason that that reason is good. But let us go back of the results to the cause. William James once stated that 90% of us are using only 10% of our mind power. Psychologists believe that every human being is a dynamo of concentrated creative energy, which is ever seeking new avenues of expression. By God, what is that? The perpetual transmutation of thought energy. It's us. It's us. It's living in matter and form. We restrict it with our what? Our own ideas. The work you are doing at the moment may not seem divine. If not, it is divine. Why would it still be divine? Because the dissatisfaction is causing you to wake up. Wake up from what? You're dying inside. There's no creativity. There was no purpose. You're not doing this on purpose. It's knocking at the door. You're doing something every day with no real direction. There's no definite end here. The work was always divine. Causing you to wake up, to give on purpose. How about to make the work a love made visible? Woo, that's power. A lot of people ask why I do what I do. Passion. Making the work made visible. The desire for prosperity and for beneficial self-expression in work is but a part of the creative energy trying to express in our lives. I'm going to read that again. The desire for prosperity and for beneficial self-expression in work is but a part of the creative energy trying to express in our lives. When the right avenues are found for the constructive outlet, that's your expression. If you didn't decide prosperity, it's because you don't believe that you should be prosperous. We got the wrong ideas. Why would the divine bring us here and not be willing to give us everything that we could desire and want? But it has been through your imagination, trying to wake you up all the time. But if you reject it, you're rejecting creation. You're rejecting the divine work. And we didn't know that we were programmed. We were programmed to think as they think. And if they were restricting to the divine and saying we're not worthy and we should be punished, what do you think we've been getting? We're all just working out ideas. We are the workings of ideas. And we're working them out. And my God, if you sit there for 40, 50, 60 years and you never figured it out, wake up. Nobody was restricting us. Nobody was holding us back. It was the ideas that we harbor and we make our own. We could have thought of prosperous ideas to definite ends and release more than that 10%, 5%. The imagination was always there giving you ideas. We're selecting the ones that are not giving us our desires. And why we say dissatisfied. Nobody has rejected divinity from you. How about let's go back to working one with spirit? Working one with the divine of which I am. Working with one. Working with one which I am. Working with the one of which I am. When the right avenues are found, it's just thought, ideas. When When. That was the great if and when. My God, if and when. When the right avenues are found for the constructive outlet of creative energy and the right attitudes are established, man is happy, well adjusted, and considers his work divine. But when the right avenues of expression have not been found, the right attitudes are not established, and the same creative energy is restricted to expressing in mediocre ways. Then man is unhappy and considers work a curse instead of the divine. Instead of the divine blessing it is and was intended to be. And all getting get understanding. We're just working out consciousness. Our own, our intellect, our past, their past. We're just working out ideas. Consciousness is the only thing that can understand itself outside of itself. Why are you so intelligent? Because you are the only one that can understand yourself outside of yourself. If you're awake, you measure yourself. Do I like this? Do we like this? Look what happened. Let's see what happened. How did I bring this about? You're the only one that causes yourself to think about yourself. Now, who's the self then? Who's been writing my reality? Or has the program just been moving along? Let us face the issue squarely. You may discover that you are where you are now for the purpose of the divine work of redeeming certain character traits or certain character attitudes of mind which have impeded your progress in the past. Let me read that again. You may discover that you are where you are now for the purpose of the divine work of redeeming certain character traits or certain attitudes of mind which have impeded your progress in the past. Pretty powerful stuff when we're here on purpose to understand ourselves and to make a decision. Pretty powerful potential if and when you decide to change the work. We're working out ideas all day long. If and when you decide to make a decision to change the work. Perpetual transmutation of thought energy. That's the work. Perpetual transmutation. That's the work. Where's the secret? It's in the work. The working out of ideas. The working out of your consciousness. Your responsibility is to decipher through the thoughts and discern what work you would do to definite ends. Thoughts, takeaways. We have 3 minutes till we go into our meditation.
All work is divine. That was very impactful for me. And how even if you're not happy, that frustration or that unhappiness is the awakening or that moment where you realize that you need to be making another decision. Also, occupied. If you're doing your work to be occupied, that is what you will become, is occupied. And that the satisfaction comes from the definite end, which is in the vision and the goal of the work.
And it was always divine. Doesn't matter which angle you're looking at it. It's either to awaken.
And even the thing that maybe you didn't enjoy doing, it doesn't matter because it got you to where you needed to be. And sometimes the work starts out, I believe, as a goal, and you can get lost and it starts to become just being occupied. But to be able to go back and remember where you started and to bring that vision back into place and that goal back into place for a definite end, you haven't lost time. You may have just lost focus because you've been working toward something the whole time.
Correct. And it's to awaken the memory of why you started to do what you were doing, and now to do it on purpose again. This is go back to the vision of why you started the thing in the first place. And then, does this serve me? It's about being awake. It's all in awareness. Anyone else?
Would it be like you're getting punished all the time until you wake up and say, hey, make a change?
I wouldn't say it's punishment. I'd say it's acknowledgement of doing things in the wrong direction. It's you're not aware, and so this trying to make you aware that it's time to grow, it's time to move, it's time to do things on purpose. Trying to wake you up to aware of self, the higher self, not the lower self. The lower self was stuck. The higher self is, hey, we've been doing this for too long.
I think it also is one of those lies that the world tells us and that some of us have subscribed to. You know, how many times in your life have you heard work is a 4-letter word? And they don't call it a job for they call it a job for a reason. The attitude toward work is one of negativity and struggle and strife and not being fulfilled and not doing what you want. When in reality, this expression of love, if that's how you view your work, when that is how you view your work, those things are no longer even, someone would say that to you and you would just look at them like they're the craziest person on the planet. What are you talking about?
In awareness. It's all in awareness. My work is divine. It was always leading me and guiding me. Are we listening? The working out of ideas, the working out of consciousness. To do what? To understand itself. And understanding is more. And of its consciousness in higher states. That's what the work was. To go from a lower consciousness to a higher consciousness. And to keep consciousness ahead of thought. Spiritual consciousness ahead of thought. Then you no longer just do things to do things. You do things on purpose because you've already imagined the future. That's powerful. You will advance decision making. You keep spiritual consciousness in the forefront of thought. No longer get stuck. You do things on purpose. What was the work? The work was divine. To rise in consciousness. To know thyself. Not as a man. We're going to go into our meditation. Want to relax? Relax your feet. Relax your legs. Relax your stomach. Let everything just flow. shoulders, jaw, tongue, eyes, you breathe in, bring in the thought of perfect purple energy, filled with love. Breathe in, love, breathe out, love. Remember who you are. Remember who I am is. I am not the body. I live in the body. I don't have a soul. I am a soul. I am the soul. I want you to go to your vision. Welcome back. I would like you guys to take a little bit of time now and write down what you're doing and really study yourself. and define the meaning of everything you do. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good day.
Great day, everyone.